So far away, Lucas, what's the topic of today's Wiki Weekend or Wednesdays, whenever these go out?
Yeah, we are talking about a man who wanted first blood.
Yeah, they drew it, not him. So far away, Lucas, as you often do, we'd like to also clarify specifically what we're talking about today as I take a nice big old sip of coffee.
We are going to be talking about, is it John Rambo?
John Rambo, yes, from the Rambo series of films, of which I am a massive fan. And Lucas, how about yourself? Where do you fall on the Rambo movies?
My knowledge of Rambo, other than knowing they exist, is the fact that in It's Always Sunny, Frank thinks he's John Rambo for a bit.
Oh, okay, well, I adore the Rambo movies, with the exception of Rambo 3, because it completely changed the character of Rambo before changing it back to what it was in the first movie. Because I'm guessing, Lucas, if you're like a more casual fan, like you know it via pop culture osmosis more than the actual films themselves, you probably picture Rambo, as he is in Rambo 3, which is a shirtless, screaming Sylvester Stallone firing an M60 into the air, yes?
That's exactly how I imagine it, yeah.
Yeah, and that's not the character of Rambo, because in the first Rambo movie, Rambo First Blood, he kills one person by accident. He kills one person by accident and he just wants to be left alone. And in the second movie, he kills a few more people, but he's still quite a stoic, quiet character who just wants to be left the fuck alone. He's going back to save soldiers. And then in Rambo 3, the movie turned into a generic action movie, which sucks all kinds of ass, because that's not what Rambo was. But the wiki we're reading from will no doubt get into that. So without further ado, John Rambo. So full name, John James Rambo. Status alive, the fuck is gonna kill him. He fights the entire Russian army in the third one, I think. He fights the entire army in one of the movies and wins. And then I think in Rambo 4, he fights the entire Burmese army. And then in Rambo 5, the entire Mexican cartel. Weapon of choice, Lucas, you ready for this? Anything. Weapon of choice is anything he can get his hands on, usually a survival knife or compound bow, sometimes his bare hands, also known to use an M60, which is a giant, like, mounted machine gun that he wields one-handed. And that leads into his appearance in Mortal Kombat 11, of which I'm a big fan because fuck it, it's got RoboCop in it now. And they put Rambo into Mortal Kombat, and it's like an amalgamation of all of his appearances in all the movies. And one of his win quotes is him just firing an M60 into the air, screaming. And Sylvester Stallone reprised his role as Rambo for that thing. And I just like to imagine Sylvester Stallone, like 70 years old, just stood in his mansion screaming into a microphone for that. Appeared in First Blood, Rambo First Blood Part 2. I love that. First Blood Part 2, and then Rambo 3, and then simply Rambo, and then Rambo Last Blood. So the naming conventions of the Rambo series are just really fucking bad. Occupation, former Green Beret, mercenary, stick fighter, handyman, riverboat captain, snake capture, horse farmer. And goals, to keep those close to him safe, live a quiet life. In parentheses, succeeded, sometimes failed. And then motives, justice. That's it. He's fighting for justice. Fuck you, Teasel. Aliases, Raven, Lone Wolf, Johnny, Boatman, Juanito. Raven, fucking hell. And then known relatives, just like, you know, the Rambo family. And then religion, Buddhism in Rambo 3, atheism / Christianity in Rambo 4. And we can move on to a quote from the man of the hour, John Rambo. And I fucking love the Rambo series. It's one of my favourite quotes here. You know what you are, what you're made of. War is in your blood. Don't fight it. You didn't kill for your country. You killed for yourself. God is never going to make that go away. When you're pushed, killing is as easy as breathing. And my other favourite quotes, it's like all come from First Blood. And it is just where Rambo is in the forest. And he just tells the sheriff that's chasing him, leave me the fuck alone. Because if you bring it, I'll give you a war you won't believe.
Don't push it, I'll give you a war you won't believe. Let it go.
And then he just runs into the fucking woods. On his way into the woods, he kicks the shit out of every single person in the sheriff's office. And they send the entire sheriff's office into the woods to try and find Rambo, and they all get murked. And that's the thing of, like, Lucas, imagine now, one crazy man runs into the woods, you send in, like, the entire sheriff's department, and they all come out with, like, broken legs. There's, like, an amazing scene where he sets all these traps in the woods. and just like one by one, they all the sheriffs fall into the traps. And like one of the guys gets hit in the dick by like a spike trap. I got it! Somebody help me! And then they have like another moment where like a guy's got some dogs and it's like, okay, send the dogs after him. And they send like these 2 huge fucking Rottweilers or something over a hill. And then you just like hear like 5 seconds of no noise. Then just like the dogs going, arr! That's it. Done. Do not fight that man. Do not fight Rambo. So for people at home watching like Lucas, who maybe aren't too familiar with Rambo, we have a brief description of the character here. John James Rambo is the main protagonist of the Rambo film series and the Dave Morrell novel First Blood. Because I think there's only one novel. A former Vietnam veteran and highly skilled Green Beret, Rambo returned from the war as a decorated but disturbed hero. He is filled with self-loathing and hates killing, but is willing to use his skills to protect those close to him. This is the general plotline of the 3 First Blood sequels. The main character of the series, Rambo, appears in all the films. The only character to come close to this is Sam Troutman, his mentor and commander in Vietnam. And here's the important thing, one of the reasons that I like Rambo as a character so much. Although Rambo appears to be a butch action stereotype, the character of John Rambo is actually a broken and emotional man. He has witnessed all of his friends die, was not loved as a child, faced unbearable terrors in Vietnam, and returned to a country that rejected him, and then was seduced back into combat, where he killed hundreds more people before being finally left alone and miserable, unable to forgive himself for what he'd done. So Rambo is basically just the tale of just this like tortured, broken man who just wants to be left alone, and I contend it is Sylvester Stallone's best role. And the final scene of First Blood is one of the best bits of acting he's ever done. Where it is just Rambo breaking down to Colonel Troutman like, I don't know what to do. In war I knew what to do, but now everyone's dead. Please help me. He's closer to John Wick in a way. You know, he's just like, he's good at what he does and he doesn't like doing it, but he's like, you know, just haunted by his past. But if you fuck with him, then all hell's gonna break loose. As it does multiple times in those movies. And that's why I kind of like his appearance in Mortal Kombat 11, because I was initially hesitant when I heard about it. I'm like, really? Like, you know, PTSD-stricken war vet? Is that really the character for Mortal Kombat? But then his ending story, which is narrated by Sylvester Stallone, but he's talking about, like, I've fought for so long. I just want to go home. I'm tired.
It's time to walk away. For good this time. Leaving the pain and the ugliness behind. After all I've been through, I've earned a little peace.
And it's like, that's a better ending to the character than Last Blood gave him.
Question then, in Mortal Kombat, do they try to actually contextualize why the DLC characters are actually there?
Yeah, they fell into from another dimension. And then they fight, and then they have, like, you know, their non-canon ending, and, like, Rambo's is really fucking good.
Mm.
He also, as well, has the best brutality in the game, where he will blow someone's head off with, like, an M60, and then a portal opens up to his house, and he goes, you drew first blood, not me, and leaves.
You drew first blood, not me.
Rambo wins.
So anyway, Lucas, would you like to hear about Rambo's personality or his skills and abilities?
I mean, I don't know what his skills and abilities are, but I'm quite interested in his personality right now.
Okay, so personality. Throughout the film series, especially in the first and fourth films, John Rambo is displayed as a tragic hero who suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder and has difficulty adjusting to civilian life, which is especially complicated with the prejudice against returning soldiers. He is shown to be prone to violence because of the torture he suffered at the hands of North Vietnamese soldiers in the Vietnam War. Rambo has difficulty talking about his problems as he is too scarred from trauma to open up. The only person he really trusts is Troutman. And it says here that he chooses not to engage with most people and only speaks directly to a few who he trusts. As he grew older, he became bitter and angry at the world. It says here, it is evident that Rambo did care deeply for all the men in his unit, forming a brotherly bond with most of them. This is shown at the start of First Blood when he arrives at the home of Delmar Barry. And he walks with a bit of spring in his step and he's polite and talkative to Barry's mother. And that's like one of the most heartbreaking scenes in the film. It's right at the start and he's tracked down a member of his old unit's house and he's there and he's really happy. He's like, oh yeah, I was with Your son in Vietnam. Maybe he talked about me. Here's a photo of us all together, and she says he died.
He died.
What?
Died last summer.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah. Like, he's really happy. He's like, oh, wow, I've walked all this way. Because, like, finally I get to see someone, like, you know, one of the only people in the world that I know and trust. He's like, oh, he's dead. And he died off, and we didn't tell you because no one knew where you were.
Is there like a time skip between when he's meant to have been in war and the first film then?
Yes. Like, it's like a couple of years after he got back. Like, he's just been a drifter for a few years. And it says here that in Rambo 3, Rambo is seen as a wisecracking, one-liner delivering action hero in the vein of John Matrix from Commando. He cracks several jokes and pokes fun at the state he and Troutman are in, and most of the predicaments he's got himself into. Most fans of the Rambo series, including myself, acknowledge that Rambo 3 was made more to exploit Rambo's character than to further develop him. Like, he's such an interesting... Imagine if they made like a John Wick film where John Wick starts delivering like cheesy one-liners and they like move away from the fact that, you know, he's this like tortured, broken man who's just like really angry and out for revenge. Like, they completely shift his personality and I really don't like it. It's like similar to the Rocky films where the first Rocky movie is like, it's more a character piece than a sports movie. And then you've got like, I think it's either the fourth one, maybe the fifth one, where Rocky gets a robot. And then he's fighting like Hulk Hogan in a boxing match. It's like, for fuck's sake. And then it goes on to talk about how he's a survival expert due to his training, but that leads us mostly into his skills and abilities. So, are you ready, Lucas, to hear about John Rambo's skills and abilities?
Hell yeah.
Fucking yes. We have here a quote from Sam Troutman to Sheriff Teasel. You don't seem to accept the fact that you're dealing with an expert in guerrilla warfare, a man who's the best. With guns, with knives, with his bare hands, a man who's been trained to ignore pain, ignore weather, to live off the land, to eat things that make a billy goat puke. In Vietnam, his job was to dispose of enemy personnel, to kill, period. Win by attrition. Rambo was the best. And he's saying this to like a sheriff with a shotgun running. It's like, do not chase him into the forest. He's fucking Rambo. Don't mess. So we have here, so John J. Rambo is a Vietnam War veteran and Special Forces Green Beret decorated with a Congressional Medal of Honor. Rambo is the survivor of countless incursions behind enemy lines. His skills include, but are not limited to, Master Marksman. Rambo is incredibly skilled with many types of weapons, being able to use any weapon he finds in the field, including the AK-47, M16, hunting rifles, shotguns, RPGs, and various M60 variants. His size and strength is such that he can use an M60 without the aid of a turret with barely any loss in accuracy. That's why he can fire it one hand. He's so fucking strong that he can fire something that needs a turret, like one-handed. Rambo is also a very talented archer, preferring to use a bow in times where he needs to be stealthy, but also uses explosive tips when he needs to cause destruction, even using one to take down a helicopter. No! He is seemingly ambidextrous since he uses his left hand to knock arrows, but shoots firearms with his right. Master combatant. Rambo is also adept in unarmed combat. He has a muscular physique due to his time as a soldier and his intense training regimen. He has a high amount of strength, stamina, as well as a great deal of resistance to pain. He's able to hold his own against larger or multiple foes single-handedly. His strength allows him to pull out a man's throat with his bare hands. Knife mastery. I love that. Mastery of knives. Rambo has an affinity for knives, both as a weapon and a tool for survival. He has used his knife to create a spear, make a makeshift torch, to pass a minefield, and to kill, and I quote, many foes. Stealth. Rambo is a master of stealth, blending into his surroundings and making a makeshift ghillie suit and covering himself in mud to hide from enemy forces, sometimes in plain sight, using bushes or camouflage of some sort. His combat prowess stems from his knowledge of guerrilla warfare. He's known to make improvised traps to kill and disable enemies using minimal resources such as a glow stick, a hand grenade, a tripwire stake trap, and even lured enemies into a field using the blood of a chicken before igniting it with gasoline. Gifted intelligence. Rambo is also highly intelligent. He can speak several languages and is a capable pilot and skilled hunter. He's also trained as a medic. He is shown to be able to perform basic medical procedures on himself, such as stitching and cauterizing his own wounds. He is also very capable of orienteering, aka rock climbing, without any equipment, and traversal of the wilderness with minimal or no resources. That's the thing, isn't it? It's like, He's not intelligent in the traditional sense, but I'd say someone who's able to like live off the land and is as adept in as many forms of like, you know, unconventional warfare as him is highly intelligent. Not especially he speaks like multiple languages. The languages that Rambo knows include English, his native language, Burmese, Thai, Vietnamese, and Spanish. So he speaks like 4 languages.
That's pretty impressive. It
is, yeah. For a dude who's like most famous quote, he just "Rah!" And then we have here a list of the awards and medals Rambo has received in Rambo canon, which are only revealed in a deleted scene in Rambo 3 when they briefly open up his locker. And these medals include the Medal of Honor, of which he'd actually earned 2 because he was awarded one then refused another one, the Army Distinguished Service Medal, the Distinguished Flying Cross, the Soldier's Medal, the Bronze Star, the Purple Heart, an Air Medal, a Combat Action Ribbon, which is awarded for joint service operations with the Marine Corps, a Vietnam Service Medal, a Prisoner of War Medal, an Army Service Medal, a Vietnam Wound Medal, which was actually a South Vietnamese Forces Medal and was not permitted to be worn on uniforms, but fuck it, is Rambo, a Vietnam Campaign Medal, a National Defence Medal, a Good Conduct Medal, a Combat Infantryman Badge, a Aircraft Crewman Badge, a Senior Combat Parachutist Badge, and Expert Weapons Qualification Badge. He's a fucking talented dude. He says here that his birthday is the same day as Sylvester Stallone's, but Rambo is 1 year younger. That's kind of neat, isn't it? They honoured Sylvester Stallone's portrayal. You know what? Rambo's birthday is the same day as your birthday. Fucking yes. And Lucas, like, you know, we can leave it there for now, but fucking hell do I love some Rambo. And I highly recommend anyone go watch those movies. They're great. They're not just dumb action movies. You know, that ended right at the last second, but I'm not doing that last line again. Fuck it.